Be the change means setting the example for your family and your loved ones. You create a positive change in your life that also has a positive impact on theirs. Part of that is learning what to do for yourself. It's becoming happier, healthier, a better version of you so you can lead them to do the same. Another part of that is learning how to best care for our kids in a very confusing world. What are the things that will have the biggest impact for them long term? Let's dive in. So personally, we get looks, comments from others about certain things to do with our kids, our family included, how they eat, their sleep schedules, their daily regimens. We do certain things for a reason. And that reason is to make sure that they are healthy, that they're happy, that they're well behaved, that they're just good human beings. And I attribute everything we do with them to the way that they have developed. Their personalities, they're the most outgoing kids in the world. So it's not like they're deprived in any way. We just have a specific structure, and it's not normal. We don't care. Nothing we do is normal, because normal is a pathetic standard when you consider how many adults and children are overweight, inactive, unhealthy, poor mental health. Just across the board, like, normal sucks. You look at the numbers, it's not just the majority of adults who are overweight now. They're raising overweight kids, and they're also predisposing their kids to having those issues long term. So everything we do, and not to say we do everything perfect, but we feel very strongly about the way we raise our kids, which is why we don't let any kind of pushback from the outside affect any of our decisions. I'm very proud of how they're growing up. They're extremely well-behaved kids. They are such fun kids. And, we can go anywhere. We can go to Disney. We can go to the park, and Kai goes out and he has fun with whoever he sees there. So it's not like we are seeing a negative impact. It's not like we are seeing any kind of detriment to the things we're doing. We're just as specific with their regimens as we are with our own. And there's a reason for that. We call this a lifestyle. It's not a plan. It's not a challenge. Everything we do is a lifestyle. So it makes sense that our kids follow that same lifestyle to different degrees and in different ways. But that's why they do what they do. That's why we do those things and set them up so that long term they're built for success. From what they're eating to how they handle stress. We're starting that now. We've done that since... we've had conversations with our son since he was 2 or 3 years old on how to handle those situations. And he's eaten the same way since he was baby. Cora is eating the same way.
I posted a picture of our breakfast today on Instagram, and I posted the first picture of the kids' breakfast, and the second one was mine. And it's the same breakfast. It's just split up a little bit differently. I cut theirs and make theirs look a little more fun. They had less vegetables than mine had, but we had our Ezekiel toast with grass-fed butter. We had eggs. We had blackberries, and Kai ended up going back. They both went back for an apple after. So that's just the norm here. That is not a special breakfast. That is what we all look forward to on a daily basis. They both finished their entire plates. And
however slow that may be for Kai.
That just goes to show, though, that the most simple things that we do on a daily basis matter. And normal is whatever you want it to be. But I do agree, normal right now in this world is not something anybody should want to be. I think we view our lives as normal because they are routine and regular for us.
Within our environment.
Within our own environment. But when you have that perspective of what normal is, and I made a video about this that blew up semi-recently because somebody commented one of my other running videos and was like, well, I'd love to see what a normal family does, or how does a normal family do this? And at first I was like, well, we are a normal family. In my head, I'm like, we are a normal family. But thinking about it more, I don't want to be a normal family. I don't want to be what the world's standard of normal is, because it sucks. You feel crappy, you look crappy, you just are miserable day in and day out because of the choices that you make. So if we can set them up for success in the smallest of ways from the beginning of their lives, then we succeeded as parents in my eyes.
And I'm going to take that a step further. And I've said this way back when. I think I said it in one of our more recent podcast episodes as well. But if your child is overweight and underactive, I consider that parental negligence. You are building a terrible foundation for the rest of their lives. Not only habits, not only eating patterns and, just overall regimen, but you're setting them up for poor health. You know,
It's not their fault.
it's not their fault. It's your fault. So metabolic issues are an underlying, if not the underlying reason for so many issues and diseases and fill in the blank down the road. And that is because of the things you're doing or not doing with them right now. And I understand life is busy, budgets are tight. You know, we've got to do what we've got to do. We have to make do with what we have available to us. You have the ability to make decisions regardless of your circumstance that are going to improve your child's health, that are going to keep them healthy.
And if you're listening to this, maybe you don't have kids yet, or you're pregnant, or thinking about, you know, getting pregnant soon and you want kids one day, understand, especially, you know, the mothers listening, that what you do now and the habits that you start now directly impact your baby while they're in the womb. So I was listening to a podcast recently. It was Lily Nichols was being interviewed. I don't remember what show it was on. Somebody was interviewing her, but she wrote the book Real Food for Pregnancy, Real Food for Fertility. They're great books. They're science backed, but not the mainstream science that OBs are going by right now. So it's very similar to all the things we talk about. But she was saying how there's a lot of studies and research that show a baby actually inherits all of the mother's cellular mitochondria. I think maybe a tiny percentage of the father's, but when it comes to the mitochondria, the powerhouse of the cell, you give your baby all of yours. And we know, how do we improve the health of our mitochondria? Exercise, eating well, fueling your body with whole nutrient dense food sources. So the things that you're doing while trying to conceive, while you're pregnant, directly impact your baby and set them up for either great metabolic health or not so great metabolic health from the very beginning, before they even arrive on the outside.
So when you're talking about metabolic health, you're talking about how quickly they're able to gain weight, essentially.
Yeah, so we're talking about all of the huge things we hear about: obesity, diabetes. Their risk for those goes up tremendously if you are not taking care of yourself and eating well and exercising throughout pregnancy.
So what you're saying is being, I don't want to say a good parent, but setting your child up for success also includes the concept of your future child. Yeah. So if you're not a parent right now, but you have the want to become a parent in the future, these are things you should be doing right now.
And yes, exactly. And this is a question I get all the time, is like, what do I need to focus on when trying to conceive a baby? Like, is there anything special I should be focusing on? The sooner that you understand optimal hormone health, trying to conceive, getting pregnant is literally the same exact thing, like copy and paste, as optimizing your overall health. So all of the things, again, that we talk about, the 5 pillars here: training, nutrition, mindset, movement, habits, focusing on just being a healthy human in every one of those areas is the best thing that you can do.
So we just kicked the episode off with what we have inherited, what we have adopted as our slogan: be the change. We talk about being the change for yourself so you can set the example for your family, and that ripple effect can affect the world, impact the world positively. That goes so much farther beyond just be the change for the family that is currently there right now. You have to create those changes for yourself so that you can set up your future child for success. That is being the change, creating the change, starting with you. And that's how much further that impact goes.
And if you're listening to this and you are like halfway through your pregnancy, or maybe you already have kids, it's never too late. Maybe you didn't prioritize things during pregnancy, or maybe you haven't been prioritizing your kids' health up to this point as best as you want to.
Most people are not, and that is okay.
It is okay.
Through awareness, we
now
create
you
change.
know, and you can start making changes today. So let's talk about what those changes are, how we can help the health of our children.
Yeah, just to slam dunk that point home, it is never too late, and you shouldn't just throw it to the wayside and say, oh, I didn't do it before. What can we do now? Little things, little baby steps right now that you continue making over time. You don't have to overhaul your entire lifestyle this weekend. What can I do for training, for nutrition, for mindset, for movement, for habits? What are the small 1-degree changes we can create to move in the right direction, and stack those on top of each other, win after win after win, small win after small win after small win. Don't be discouraged. It's not going to be perfect. Progress is not linear, but you need to start doing it, and I cannot stress that enough. So when we talk about ourselves, which we have 1,000 episodes on, those same things are going to be the concepts to talk about with our kids. So what are they eating? How are they moving? Do they train? Healthy habits, mindset protocols. So we're going to break those down into the key areas, our 5 core pillars: training, nutrition, mindset, movement, habits, things to think about, things you can address, and little shifts that you can make. So kicking it off with nutrition. Very basically said, they should be eating the same things we do. They should be eating the same way that we do. There's no shift once we create the changes that we need to make for ourselves. So this can be you and your kid. It can be just your kid if you're already doing it. But you have to be making those positive steps and consuming primarily whole foods and enjoying in moderation, which we're going to dive into right now. But blanketed statement, initially, they should be eating the same way we do, assuming we're eating optimally.
Yeah. And not only is that like going to help them, but that makes your life so much easier. Like imagine if we had to make our kids 3 separate meals or a million different meals every day that aren't what we eat. Like we would be in the kitchen literally all day and all night. So the more simplified you can make it for the entire family, the easier this is going to be for them, but also for you. And I think I really want to drive that point home, because I think that's what holds a lot of people back is like, oh, well, I can barely get my own nutrition under wraps. Like I don't have time to make all these separate meals. Eat the same way. It can be that simple. And, I think this also goes along with our idea and what we talk about all the time is like, we're not out here creating recipes that have 50 steps and a million different ingredients and is a whole process. It takes an hour or 2 hours to cook nightly. Like that's just not how we roll. We don't have time for that. We have no interest in that. And you don't need to do that to be eating healthy or have your food taste good. So the more simplified you can make your meals and kind of build your plate with a protein source, a carb source, some vegetables or fruit, and some type of, starchy carb with that. That's all under the carb net. And then if your protein source wasn't a more fat dense protein, add a little bit of fats there too. And you have a nice balanced plate, and it can be that simple. So I think, the overall message I want to send as far as nutrition goes is keep it basic, not boring. Make it taste good, keep it simple, add some spices, add some sauces, and you're good to go.
Yeah. And I think the first pushback people are going to have on that is, oh, well, my kid just won't eat all that. First of all, be a parent. Like if they want Lucky Charms, they're not eating Lucky Charms. Like it's pretty simple. You're not having that. Now, can we create things that we know they enjoy eating? So if they like chicken nuggets, can we easily create a healthier chicken nugget than what you're going to the store for? Sure. Buy some chicken breast. You can even have them pre-sliced as chicken tenders from the store. Roll them in some breadcrumbs. Find a low sugar barbecue sauce, dip them in there.
And if you're not there yet, the Costco, what are they? Kirkland, is that the brand?
No, I think it's Simply something or
Simply Good or something. Anyway, there is a Costco brand.
There are better options pre-made that you could do, but you could also do this yourself. You could do the chicken meatballs, the recipe that
Kai
you make.
loves the chicken meatballs. They
Ground
don't have
chicken,
to be buffalo sauce.
Ground chicken, an egg and a cup of breadcrumbs for every pound of the ground chicken.
Yep.
Roll them up into meatballs. So little things like that where you're taking, a 25 ingredient food that you go buy from the store in the frozen section and turning it into a 2, 3, or 4 ingredient food. Mm-hmm. That's, sourced a lot more appropriately. Just taking the control back, removing all those fillers. People, everything's, moderated by the FDA and, this in moderation and that in moderation. The amounts are so minimal. Look around. How accurate do you think those ratings actually are and those approvals actually are?
Well, not only that, but it's all minimal when you look at each separate thing, but when you're having 7 things per day, that adds up. So added sugars, for example, it's just 5 grams here, 10 grams here, maybe 14 grams here. That doesn't seem like it's too bad. Yeah, you don't realize how many added sugars are in every single thing that you're probably eating every single day.
These kids are probably consuming, without thinking about it, from the exact sample you just said, 75 to 100 grams of added sugar per day.
On the healthy snacks.
They're marketed as healthy snacks. All
snacks.
Natural, healthy, 15 grams of sugar. And you look up and 75 to 100 grams of added sugar by the end of the day, because every single thing has it. So if you're not paying attention to it, you're fucked. And just kind of circling back to, sugars shouldn't be bad. Well, no, sugars aren't bad. You can have sugars in fruit. But why do you need the added sugars that add up so ridiculously high over time? So going back to that, the ingredients that you don't need, I'm not relying on the FDA and anyone else saying, oh, this is okay. And we've gotten people calling us out over this in previous episodes. Oh, that's what they're there for.
I don't trust
That's
anybody.
not what they're there for. I don't trust anybody. Use your common sense. Make it yourself. So that's the first pushback. Anything you can create that along the lines of what they already like, just find a way to make it yourself. And you don't have a ton of time, meal prep it once or twice a week.
Yep.
Big batch, take it out, use it.
Honestly, even like a fruit protein smoothie, like sometimes Kai will have those. I recently bought the Pro Mix protein again just because it literally has, I think, 3 ingredients in it, and it has none of the sweeteners or any of that stuff. I think the sweetener they use is like coconut sugar or something. But we're getting very simple across the board here, even when it comes to our supplements, when it comes to everything that we're giving our kids. Now that he asks for a protein shake every so often, yeah, that's a great idea to help him get protein in, but I want to make sure even that has the most optimal ingredients for him. So they're out there. The good stuff is out there, and when in doubt, make it yourself.
Mm-hmm. Now, all that said, moderation with treats, and most people do not know what moderation really is. We've got a whole episode on that as well, but essentially you don't keep all the junk locked in your cabinet. You don't bring it into the house. When you want something, you guys go out and get it. You go enjoy it. Special occasions, go out for your ice cream. So nothing's off limits, but we do need to have boundaries as far as when and how often.
Yeah,
it's not a small bowl of ice cream. It's not a small bowl of ice cream every night.
House regularly, and then on the way home, I don't remember, we were coming home from the mall or something the other night, and you stopped to get Moose Tracks. I don't know the brand, but like we all enjoyed a bowl of Moose Tracks, and Kai enjoyed it, and we enjoyed it, and that's it. We don't buy that. It's not on our shopping list weekly. It's just something that we enjoy once in a while. And then honestly, it's whatever was left has been sitting in our freezer. I haven't even like looked twice at it just because it was good that one day, and I'm good.
And that's, we have things we do enjoy on a regular basis. So a couple pieces of dark chocolate. We've done like the meltables on top of some fruit with some peanuts. So some melted dark chocolate on a banana with peanuts. We've talked about that ice cream, that fruit ice cream we do occasionally where it's milk, tri-blend berries, a little bit of syrup and some vanilla extract. Just blend that up, and it's like, it's not like a sherbet. It's like a fruit ice cream. It's awesome. It's delicious.
Kai honestly loves just a bowl of popcorn, and he'll put some of the little they're like healthier M&Ms from the Unreal, I think.
But even those aren't even a staple.
No, they're not a staple, but I'm just saying, like every once in a while, like he'll do that, and that's great. It's a good option.
So accumulation over time, just obviously the exponential factor. Second area, movement. And there is no need to have your kids wear a step tracker. You just need to be aware of it. So if you notice they're spending most of their time on the couch, they're playing video games, they're just very sedentary, create the change. Be aware, create change. So get them outside, throw a soccer ball at them, run around with the kids, go for a hike. It doesn't matter what it is. Have fun being outside. And that's the biggest thing too when you're talking about this. First of all, our kids want to be outside. They're happier outside unless they've entered this sedentary pattern. It was one of the saddest things I've ever seen at T-ball. There's a little fella who would literally mope to the plate. He was overweight. He would mope to the plate. He'd rest the bat on his shoulder. He wouldn't want to swing. And then when they finally coerced him into swinging, he'd tap the ball, 4 feet, walk with his head down to every single base as they went out. He'd get his glove to go out in the field afterwards, moping over. You could just tell he didn't want to be there. And it's not like, it didn't seem like he was having a bad day. It seemed like he just wanted to be back. Did not want to be out there. And I broke my heart to see that. But some of these kids, and not to say, it's not okay to be an introvert. Of course that is. Maybe they just don't like sports. But you could see the culminating factor there. Overweight, didn't want to be outside, didn't want to move, would probably be much more comfortable on the couch, eating a bag of chips, playing some video games. That is the norm for a lot of these parents because it's easy. We don't have to do these things. We're so tired from work. We don't want to go out. And if he wants to just hang out, watch some TV, I'm cool with that. We're not against TV. We watch movies with our kids, but they're outside as often as we can get outside. We take 1 or 2 walks a day with them after breakfast. Sometimes after. This is all year.
Through the winter, we are outside. Like someone asked me if I was worried that we were going to have a baby in February. 'Cause for those who don't know, we're having baby 3. And this is our first winter baby. And honestly, I'm not worried at all. Like
Doesn't change anything.
We are going to take the baby, as long as the baby is bundled up, like we're going for our walks in the snow. Like that's what we're going to do. Cora did it. She was a little bit older, obviously, 'cause she was a summer baby, but they are born into our lives and they will be part of our life. And that includes walks in the winter. And that's good for them. It's not like it's going to hurt the baby. People in, where is it? Norway, or one of the Norwegian countries, they let their babies nap outside in the winter because they sleep better. It's good for them to be in the sun and still get that vitamin D. And for some reason, we are just like...
There's a reason that a screaming baby calms down when you go outside with them.
Every time.
You've got nature fractals. You've got the fresh air. You've got the sunshine. It's where we were meant to be.
And listen, if your kids don't like sports, like I know not everybody can afford sports because it is ridiculously expensive to do sports these days.
Schedules are crazy.
Schedules are crazy. Oftentimes the practices are late at night, even for Kai. What was his T-ball, like 7:30 or something?
Mm-hmm.
So I understand if like sports are not your thing in the season of life, but there are so many other things. Like I think back to when my mom used to take Kai on our street. We have like a little nature trail, and they would do scavenger hunts, and she would make up a list of like things for him to find, like just basic things like a certain kind of leaf, an acorn, whatever. And they would walk around and do scavenger hunts when he was like 2. So
go find a body of water, go skip some stones, throw some rocks, fish. Just go be by the water. It's naturally calming. And
honestly, when you make it fun and exciting and you are thoroughly enjoying yourself, they are more likely to enjoy themselves. When you're moping and you genuinely don't want to be there, you can't expect them to want to do it either. So
they can feel your vibes.
Fake it till you make it. And then once you're outside, you probably will be much happier and your mood will be boosted.
And that was the biggest key, when we kicked off this section. Make it fun. It has to be enjoyable so that these become habits that they want to sustain when they're done living with you and they're starting their lives. I did this with my parents. I loved it. I'm going to do this with my kids, and you continue that ripple effect. But it's not, hey, we're going outside, we're running sprints and, blah, blah, blah. I don't care. I'm locking the door and you're going outside. This is fun. You want to make it fun. Mm-hmm. Get something they enjoy, whether it's kicking the soccer ball, hitting the tee, going for a walk at the park, just going to the playground, taking your hike. Find something you all enjoy, do it together, and find something for them to do outside when you're home, where they're not just sitting on the couch the whole time. Third area is training, and training really is a nuance at such a young age. They do not need a routine, obviously, but let them hang out with you once in a while when you are training. Let them see you go through it. Let that seed be planted. Mommy, daddy, they're training. They want to be big, strong, healthy. I want to do that too. You could coach them through doing some air squats. You could coach them through picking up a kettlebell if they want to just get in there and have fun. You could get them the play weights. The little foam weights. Go
for like toddlers, but there is a lot of emerging research coming out, even for kids, that resistance training, strength training is super beneficial for them. Shocker. So
doesn't stunt your growth plates.
It does not stunt their growth. It only boosts their confidence, self-esteem. Obviously, they're not going to go get jacked from lifting weights at 8 years old, but I would say by the time they get to elementary school, there's no reason why you can't just start implementing some of those habits if they show interest in it. And if they do play sports, you can kind of explain to them like, hey, this is going to help you, run faster for baseball, or, be strong enough to whatever their sport is. I don't know. But just know that that's not a bad thing to do.
And even if it's not weights, especially early on, if you can get them into karate, if you can get them into jiu-jitsu, if you can get them into whatever, or go for bike rides, or go for the more strenuous hike. The big thing here is, getting the heart rate up, getting comfortable, being a little bit uncomfortable and enjoying that and feeling the endorphins when you're done, and, understanding why we're doing it. We do this to be healthy. It's fun. We're having a good time with what we're doing, but it makes us better, makes us stronger, makes us healthier, makes us happier. Really ingraining that. It can't just be, we do this because we have to do this. We do this because it makes us a better person. And, those are the conversation you need to have throughout the process.
And this is a great time to highlight for those of you who have only exercised or worked out consistently for fat loss purposes. Just a reminder that there are many more benefits to exercise than solely to change how your body looks. So obviously we're not making it about that for them, for kids at all. So educate yourself on the other benefits and explain to them what those benefits are and model that behavior. And that, again, is not only going to help them, it's going to help you in your relationship to exercise too.
No doubt. It's not just about getting super shredded, but, to touch on aesthetics and, to go through mental health. These are things that improve. You are going to look younger. You are going to feel better mentally. You're going to have a better capacity to manage your emotions and control stress levels even better. So there are certainly look concepts to be improved when you are going through these workouts, but it improves everything. It's not just for that purpose. One of my biggest things when I scaled back training, so the past 6 months or so, I've gone from 5 or 6 days a week down to 4. And that's primarily due to time constraints. Obviously, we're in our parenting prime. We're running 2 businesses. We have a lot going on. And I found myself rushing through more workouts, which was very frustrating. So I scaled it back and I shortened the length of those workouts, which is great. I'm performing well. I think I'm improving aesthetically even better. But a drawback of that was my mental health. That was a mental health practice for me. So when I was missing those 2 other days, I needed something to fill that gap. And that's why we went out and got the chest freezer so I could do more extreme cold plunges, because that does wonders for my mental health. So there are different levels to it, and just figure out what makes the most sense and understand it's not just for performance, not just for aesthetics. It improves everything, mental health included. Number 4. Fourth area is going to be habits. And again, habits are obviously going to look different at such a young age. They're not checking off, I drank my water first thing in the morning. You could do things like a star on a board. That's really not necessary, but could be fun if that's something that they really enjoy doing and getting credit for and getting that momentum boost. But really, it's about a routine that promotes their well-being. It could be reading before bed. It's going to sleep and waking up at the same time. So optimizing our circadian rhythm, which we need, they need it just as much. A family walk after breakfast. Maybe it's another family walk after dinner, but really stapling in the things that make the biggest impact for you in a variation for them. Some of those are going to be your habits. So doing those things together, but just, again, establishing a routine that allows them to grow and thrive.
Yeah, I think routine is key. And I would say most people probably have that routine set up for their kids more than they do themselves. But sometimes. I know there are also many who do not, and many who kind of just, there's no bedtime routine. There's no consistent wake time. There's no consistency anywhere. And I think having that routine, especially for them as they're younger, is only beneficial. It gives them that consistency, but it also gives them the structure. It gives them, it's just their norm. It develops that just familiarity. Yes. Thank you. For them, so they know what to expect. And I think there is a lot of peacefulness and just appreciation for that, even as a kid. So, we have our bedtime routines and our pretty consistent wake time routines personally as adults, and the same for our kids. And that, we talked about it in the last episode, has truly impacted all of us in a positive way. It helps us sleep better. They're just happier overall. Their mood is better when they're getting that consistent sleep. So sticking to our bedtime routines and our wake time routines is super important. And that's just one example of this, but you're going to have other things sprinkled in throughout the day. But I think that's kind of a good place to start if you don't have anything right now.
Kids need structure, and that doesn't mean there's no independent time. That doesn't mean there's no free time, but structure is going to help them structure their growth. It's going to give them something to build upon. It's going to give them a solid foundation to thrive in other areas. That doesn't mean we're robots. It doesn't mean we're machines and, it's boop, boop, boop. We're doing this, then we're doing this, then doing this, then we're doing this. But there are certain things throughout the day, certain check marks, certain checkpoints that are going to fall in line with that. And everything is going to kind of ebb and flow within those checkpoints. It just, again, from a behavioral perspective, due to improved sleep and energy levels and mood and just everything else thrives because of this regimen. And it's all built upon these things. So let's dive into number 5. Fifth area, mindset. One of our favorite things is going to be breathing exercises. It's just such a simple way to connect with the present moment, to reduce stress levels. And this is something that's, not only good to coach them through when they're already upset, but it should be a daily practice. So you go through it. Maybe it's during reading time. You guys do a little mini meditation before or after you read and talk about it. Hey, let's practice this. Breathe in and breathe out nice and slow. Full deep breath, breathe out nice and slow. So they practice that. Hey, do you know why we're doing this? Maybe they do, maybe they don't. Hey, well, we're doing this because it actually makes us feel better. Helps us really connect with the moment, helps us reduce our stress. Stress is, when we get mad or upset, it helps us bring that level back down and take the air out of the tire. So just having those practices done consistently and having those conversations consistently, sometimes they're going to enjoy it. Sometimes they're not going to want to do it. They're kids. They're easily distracted. Obviously that's the case, but keep it short, simple, and just, you'll just be amazed at how quickly they pull that into real life. When they are in that moment, you're like, hey buddy, remember, take those deep breaths, a few deep breaths. How you feeling? Okay, I'm feeling better. Okay, how can we get past this? We need to do that as adults. They need to do that as kids. If you're ingraining these habits at a young age, talk about setting them up for success down the road. How many kids do you know who can calm themselves down in the matter of a minute and, not let it turn into a full day tantrum?
We all know kids are like sponges, and that can be good or bad, depending on what you're doing or modeling for them. So this is a great example. Like Kai remembers everything. Whenever we think he's not even listening, and he'll say things that like we said 3 months ago or something. So you can never repeat yourself too much, but understand that they're going to take it in much easier than you probably even will. Kai used to have those like little meditation cards too that were really good when he was younger. I don't know what they're called. But I'm sure there's a million different kinds you can get, but it's just like a kid's meditation card, and you pick one up, you just do one at a time, and it'll give you an activity to like do like some deep breaths.
Stretch tall like
a giraffe. There's a little picture on it. Makes it fun, but it just kind of allows them to be present and more mindful, and just in the moment. So if you need something to follow, those are a great thing too.
Yeah, you could probably get them for $5 on Amazon, just some guided cards to go through, or make them up yourself. It doesn't have to be anything special. Just kind of run through it. So those are our 5 areas, guys. No surprise, it is the same 5 pillars that we talk about with you guys. The SDE method: training, nutrition, mindset, movement, habits. Nutrition, first area, they should be eating the same way we do. We're prioritizing whole foods, minimizing the fun stuff, but enjoying in true moderation. Movement, just get them outside, keep them moving. You see them on the couch all day, that's a red flag. Third area, training. They can lift weights. When they're really young, just get them out there with you, see what they're interested in, and, show them some fun stuff, or go for the hike, go for the bike ride, elevate the heart rate, get comfortable being uncomfortable, introduce them to that. Habits, just establishing a regimen with your kids, setting them up for success. And mindset, start with some breath work, focusing on your slow, deep breaths in those stressful situations and as a daily practice. But that is where we're going to wrap it up here, guys. Where can they find you?
I'm at Alessandra Skutnik.
I'm at Josh Skutnik.
Everything you need is linked in the show notes.